Okay, let's move on to our next item, which is the consent agenda, payment of bills.
We had a few questions on bills. Tim?
Yeah, there was a question regarding a payment to Des Plaines Valley, the Des Plaines Valley region, $17,760. That's an annual payment we make to them. They're a consortium of schools that's associated with Triton. They're the ones who are involved in all of the federal grants that we get for Perkins, the vocational grants, Perkins grant that we receive, and the CTE grant. The money flows through them. The government doesn't give it to us. They give it to these regional consortiums, and we work with that one. There was a question regarding some billing for Airmark for overtime, weekly overtime. That had to do with some building rentals, so that bill that we paid to Airmark was actually billed to two different organizations that were renting our facilities.
Where will we see the money then offset that bill?
It'll be in the building rental revenue account. Big ceramic store, that was purchases for the fine arts department. And then there were several legal bills. One bill that we paid and charged to legal was to Comeric School. We have an agreement with Comeric where anytime they actually use Franzik Radlick, anytime Franzik does any work on property tax appeals for property that's in North Riverside, we split the cost, Franzik's cost, with Comeric School. They pay the bill, we reimburse them. The other legal bills that we had for Franzik and for Scariano were just our normal monthly bills with those two law firms. And there was also a payment of $25,000 to Hewlett-Packard for computers. The biggest part of that was, over $24,000 of it was the computer lab in room 258, computers we purchased.
All right, any other questions on the bills?
I have a question on the $25,000. What, don't we have to approve something to that large?
Not in the areas of technology. We went through that with the contracts and the purchases.
You don't have to bid out anything that's involved with technology.
So do we have a plan then for the computer? How do we manage our technology? Do we have a rolling schedule throughout the building to update computers, or?
Yeah, Mike touched on this a little bit when I think Tim Walsh asked this in July. We have an agent obsolescence chart that we do for all our machines in our labs. And then so this lab is about 6 or 8 years old where it's becoming outdated to run the equipment in that lab. So then what we do is we use those machines and replace out-of-date machines in teachers' classrooms with the machines from the lab as we replace the lab machines. If a machine is completely out of date and it's not going to help us with the replacement of a teacher's computer, we then disassemble and save certain things for parts and replacement pieces. Is that correct? That's how we're working it?
Yeah.
So then do we have like an annual budget to make sure that this happens? Where would we see that technology line item?
It's in the current budget. That budget got slashed significantly last. It used to be $50,000 a year, so that we were on a pace to replace like a computer lab a year. And then last year, when they did all the reductions, they knocked that down to $10,000 strictly just for repairs and maintenance and emergencies. But Mike, when the budget building process this year with Tim and Pam and myself, identified that we needed to start getting back on that cycle of replacing a lab a year so that there was a continuous cycle.
So we're going to build that into the budget for the 2012-2013 year?
And hopefully years to come so that we can continue it. Yeah.
And just recycle and replace it.
Will that be in account 10?
Yes, it's in the tech services department. In the budget, it's actually on the budget.
You adjusted on the budget, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's noted in the first page
okay.
of the budget.
All right, any other questions?
Carrying on to hers, Kevin, you're still planning to propose some kind of long-term technology plan, right?
Yes, sir. We'll talk a little bit about that later tonight.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Then do I have a motion for the bills and minutes?
Were there some any discussion on the minutes? Questions on the minutes?
You received any changes, right?
I received them. You did anything?
Right.
We had to give a paper copy because I think it was after 5, and we wanted to make sure we didn't have
Okay.
the issue last time, so.
All right, so these are the revised minutes? Okay.
I did ask a question. Should we have included in the open minutes the names of, and assignments of all the stipend positions? We just said we talked about them in closed session, and just to prove that we closed in closed session, but I mean, shouldn't we be making that a matter of public record?
I would imagine we can just include the list, the Excel list that the board's seen.
Yeah.
Attached to the resolution or attached to the minutes.
Okay.
I don't think that would be an issue.
I think that's what we discussed at the meeting closed session. We talked about whether or not those names should be included.
Right.
So we want to add on to this, in the meeting on July 10th, the listing of the stipend positions that were voted.
Yeah, we'll just attach the Excel spreadsheet that the board sees with all the positions and pay grades.
All right, do I have a motion on this?
What's the resolution number for that attachment?
For accounts and claims payable.
You got to read it.
Yeah.
I can read it for you if you want, right here.
No. What resolution in the open meeting minutes discusses? the-
Oh, it's on page 129 of the board book.
129?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we just say approves new hires and hire recommendations on athletics and the activity stipend list as presented.
So it's 12870?
I'm sorry, yeah, 12870.
Okay.
So it talks about the stipends list.
But we don't have it documented anyway.
So are we just, is it, we're just attaching it to
Yeah.
the meeting minutes?
Yep.
As attached.
All right, do I have a motion on this? Do you want to read it, Mike?
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby takes the following action on the listed consent agenda items. A, approves payment of bills as presented and listed in section Roman numeral VI.A. B, approves, now is this supposed to be amended minutes or the current minutes in front of us?
I'd say amended minutes.
Approves amended minutes from the meetings held on July 10, 2012, open and closed, with the attachment on the open.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Tim Walsh. Any other discussion? Mary Ann?
Mr. Gritchen?
Yes.
Mrs. Ruska?
Yes?
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Moon? Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Sindi?
Yes.